Okay, let's make a chord progression. Now, a chord progression is, simply put, a progression of chords. It's what just about every single song you've ever heard is based on. You can think of a chord progression as like the skeleton of a song. We take a chord progression and then we add bass, drums, vocals, guitars, keyboards, other stuff to it, and that's what makes up a song. So now that we know how keys work, we can figure out what chords are going to work. So let's start with we're in the key of C. So let's start with the C major chord. C, E, G. 1, 3, and 5. Okay, let's take that all the way to the end of this beat. Now let's add another chord. I can start my chord on any available note in the key. Let's do oops, I have one too many notes here. It's cycling over, so I have C to C now. Let's do A. So A, C, because I skip B, and then I'm going to skip D, and then go to E. So 1, 3, 5 in A. Let's make that. Now what? Let's go to 2. How about 2? So I'm going to start on a D. And the reason I said 2 is because we would call this the 2 chord, a chord built on the second scale degree. We'll talk more about that later. So let's start on so we're going to build a D chord here. So it's going to be D, skip 1, F. There's my F. And then skip 1, A. And now let's do, how about a G chord? So I build a G. I'm going to skip A. I'm going to have a B. And I skip C, and I go to D. Okay. Now I have a little chord progression. Let's get rid of my extra notes here. And let's slow this way down so that it kind of feels better. Let's just hear it. Okay, so the chord progression I have here is C major to A, 2, 3, 4, A minor, to D minor, to G major. So I have C major, A minor, D minor, and G major. Now, one thing you can take away from this, other than how to build chords, is that a typical chord progression alternates between major and minor chords. Not alternates as in there's a major chord, then a minor chord, then a major chord, then a minor chord. It's not that systematic. It's that a chord progression is made up of some major chords and some minor chords. That doesn't mean that when you're hearing the major chord, it sounds happy, and when you're hearing the minor chord, it sounds sad. It's that the whole thing, the whole chord progression is going to give a sense of how the song feels. So this one has a bit of a sad sound to it, I think. But I could probably make this feel reasonably happy if I just sped it up a little bit. And then let's just get weird with it. Let's throw some kind of little drum groove on it. Let me find something built in here. Bouncy. Oh, I hate that. I hate that loop, but I'm going to use it anyway. Let's just hear what we got. Oops. Let's start that again. See, it sounds pretty happy now, right? It's all about context. So our first chord progression. Now, as we move into the next section, we're going to talk about this term called a diatonic chord progression. I want to spend a lot of time on that because that is how we write songs. That is how we write stuff. It is, I'll leave you in suspense. Let's jump over to that next.